very nice. Went down to Buckingham Palace, and I was interviewed at the time, and people said, well, you know, how is this going to change your life? And I said, really, it's just 3 letters after my name. It's not a big deal, depending on what I do with it. Because I can spend the rest of my life patting myself on the back and say, hey, I've got an MBE. Or I can say I should use this for the next step. Because sometimes people, it's just the way human nature is. 2 people might be saying the same thing, but one person has a good position, has good respect, has some letters after his name, and so people are more likely to listen to that person. And I'm not saying that's right, it's just a fact of life. So I thought that if I've got the MBE, I should use it for good. And a couple of years later, in 2017, Liverpool John Moores University recognised me as well. They saw that this guy, he's doing this work, and everybody, you know, they're recognising it. We should recognise it as well as a university. And some universities, they give an honorary doctorate, just a recognition title to somebody they think has done something good. At Liverpool John Moores University, they give an honorary fellowship. So they make you an honorary fellow of the university in recognition of your work. And so in 2017, they did that for me. And 2018, they contacted me and said, look, we're creating a new job about community engagement. And we wondered, would you be interested in this, given what you have been doing over the last few years? And at first I thought, why am I going to apply for this job? I've got a job, I've been doing a job for 27 years, why do I need this? But then when I looked at it, I thought, this is really good opportunity, because it enables me to do what I was doing in my spare time. It enables me to do it now full-time and get paid for it, which is a bonus. And so after 27 years, I stopped my career in law, and my colleagues were all very shocked. They were saying, how can you walk away from this? And even now people are still surprised, how did you walk away from that? But you know, everything happens for a reason, and there's a plan somewhere that your life is going to take a particular direction. And so for the last 3 years I've been at the university, and I'm involved in lots of different projects. That's one of the beauties of the job. So many things the university does that people don't know about. So when we think of a university, we think you go there, you study a course, you get a degree, and then you go and get a job. That's what a university is. It's a degree machine, degree factory. But when I got there, I realized that there's so much more that the university does. And I still don't know a fraction. You know, Professor Dia, he knows much more than me, and he's the expert. But you know, some of the projects that these guys are involved in are amazing. We have a racing car project. We have so many projects with different companies that employ the latest technology. So sometimes it can be technology, you know, to save costs, it can be technology to help the environment, all sorts of different aspects of technology that we support and we help these communities with. And that's the point, that what happens is, it's not just a degree for a student, it's helping a community. And now especially, you know, Liverpool, some of you will have realised in the last 10 years it's changed completely. I grew up in the 1980s in Liverpool, and there were no opportunities, no jobs. If you went to school in the 1980s in Liverpool, you almost assumed that you would get a job somewhere else, because there was nothing in Liverpool. Okay, criminal law is a bit different because we've got plenty of criminals, so there's plenty of opportunity there. But for most people, there was no industry, no nothing. But the last 10 years, you know, all the development in Liverpool 1, big changes, and now this city is completely turned around, and now it's very forward-thinking, planning for the future. We're going to need these jobs in 10 years' time, you know, with the latest green technology, with the latest advancements in knowledge. This is what we're going to need 10 years down the line. And so when the city looks at those opportunities for the future, who's the best partners? The universities. So we've got lots of projects with the city region where they say, look, this is what we want in the future, but you're the experts, how do we make it happen? So we've got lots of projects in technical stuff, in the technology and the scientific things, but also in education. So for example, the Education Improvement Board in Liverpool, and I'm a member of that, and they realised Liverpool schools, they're not good enough. The standards are not good enough. So we have to have a plan. We have to plan for the future, because if we've got all these jobs and no quality education, then who's going to take the jobs? People will come from outside Liverpool to take those jobs. And so we need to improve the schools so that our children get good qualifications and they are eligible to apply for these jobs. And then the same applies at universities as well. You know, we've got Liverpool John Moores, we've got University of Liverpool, we've got Hope University, we've got Edge, we've got plenty of universities. But we've got to have that quality and that connection with the community, so that people think, when I go to university, I will not go and get a job in London. I'm going to go to university here and I'm going to get my job here. This is my home. And so for a variety of reasons, it's very important that the university engages with the community. And our university, we realised that, okay, we've got to engage on different levels, education is one, but also we are a big employer in the city. And if our workforce all looks the same, then maybe we're doing something wrong. If the community, if the city looks different, lots of different nationalities, lots of different religions, lots of different people from all over the world, but our workforce all looks the same, then something's wrong. And so the university did this study, and the universities, one thing universities are good at is data and looking at the numbers. So they looked at the numbers and said, well, the percentage of this city that is BAME, black, Asian, minority ethnic, the percentage of the city is, let's say, 10%. And I don't know the exact figures, so I'm just giving an example. But the percentage of the city might be 10%, the percentage of our workforce might be 2%. And so if that's right, that's not representative. Our workforce doesn't accurately represent the makeup of this city. And if that's right, then we have to do something about it. And so this is one initiative that we are taking. And it's a new initiative, and obviously it's very early days. And what we want to do is we want to, we don't want this to be we've done this, okay, finished, now let's move on to something else. We want this to be the start. But like anything, you have to start small, see how it goes, and then see how you can improve it next time, see what lessons you can learn from it. And that's what we are hoping to do. So what we decided to do this time around is create some opportunities, and they're described as training opportunities, and they are in various different areas. And what we want to do is put those opportunities to the BAME community, so they apply for them first. Because a lot of the time what happens is that our communities don't know where to look for the job. And when we're sitting at home thinking of jobs, we wouldn't obviously think of university. So sometimes a university or any organisation has to be more proactive. So rather than wait for you to apply, is maybe present you with something. Say, look, maybe this is an opportunity that you hadn't thought of previously. And it's like anything, some people, the people who are successful in life, go out and get opportunities. They find them for themselves. But not everybody can do that. Some people have to be helped along the way. It's like in our own families. Yes, there are some children who are they've got a lot of initiative. They'll go there and find out for themselves. They will do the research. Some of our young people, they do the research. I want to go into this field and I want to do this job, and they're very committed and very dedicated. But other people need guidance. They need to know that this job exists. I might not even know a job exists until somebody shows me. Like the example about the university. I wouldn't know what a university did unless somebody opened my eyes and said, look, we do this, 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 this. And so it's the same with these opportunities. People think the jobs at the university are professors Professor, lecturer, that's it, nothing else. I didn't realise when I went to the university, and I think our staff is maybe 2,500 people. Half are academics, but half are professional services. So I'm not an academic, I come in that half that's professional services. So over 1,000 jobs for people who are doing roles other than directly involved in education. But again, I wouldn't have known that. And so these opportunities are in a variety of fields. So nobody is saying at the moment that we need new professors. Inshallah, that will come further down the line. But at the moment, this is to provide opportunities for the community. And the opportunities are in IT services, estate management services, and maybe I'll say a little bit about each one. IT services, information technology, obviously, to do with the computers and the technology. Estate management is more interesting because the estate refers to the physical buildings of the university. And John Moores University has a lot of estate. So you might have seen the John Moores buildings in the city centre. So there are some in Byram Street. When you go towards the tunnel, very big building, it says Liverpool John Moores University. Now that one you can't miss. There are some other buildings around there that are Liverpool John Moores University. There are some new buildings just now being completed by Lime Street Station on the hill. So when you come out of Lime Street Station and you come up the hill, there are two very brand new, they haven't even been opened yet, just finished in the last few weeks, buildings that are Liverpool John Moores University. So that's part of our estate. Then where my office is, on Rodney Street, we've got some very old buildings, but they're used for offices, not for teaching. They're our buildings. Redmond's building is a fairly new building. That's ours. And that's all around the city centre. When you come up Mount Pleasant, a lot of the buildings on Mount Pleasant, before you get to University of Liverpool, a lot of the buildings lower down are John Moores University. But I bet you didn't know this. There are John Moores University buildings in L18, L17, 18, 19, around there. IM Marsh was a college in Liverpool, and it became part of the university maybe 20 years ago. And it's off Egbert Road. And several buildings and huge playing fields. And all that is part of Liverpool John Moores University. There's a field near Calderstones Park. I didn't even know. I've been past that field a million times. I used to live next to it. I didn't know that field belongs to Liverpool John Moores University. So there's a lot of property that needs to be managed. Now, there are opportunities in that. And of course, these opportunities are at a low level to begin with, but it's an opportunity, which means it's an opportunity to get your foot in the door and then progress. Library services. So again, we have obviously libraries with books, but a lot of library services now are online. A lot of resources, people don't carry lots of books around, everything's on their devices. So again, there are opportunities there. There are opportunities for laboratory technicians. So for example, where Professor Dia works, technology, science, lots of laboratories there where they do experiments. And okay, there's the teachers and there's the students, but there's those people who have to run the laboratory. There's those people who have to, make sure everything's working there. So it's a more technical job, but there are opportunities there. There are opportunities in student recruitment. So we have a whole team that has to think about and plan, how many students do we need this year? But of course, they don't do it this year. They're looking 5 years, 10 years down the line. And they look at the population changes. So for example, I think at the moment it's going down for the next year or two, but then it goes up again. So they see, for example, how many children are there who are 14 today, but in 4 years' time they'll be 18 and coming to university. So they have to do all the planning. And so there are opportunities there, and there are opportunities in corporate communications, which is all the public relations and communication side of the university. And so they are the areas in which there are opportunities, and these are training opportunities. So what will happen is that there's training on and off the job, and a lot of support. So don't think that this is for people who already are experts in IT, already are experts in estate management. This isn't that. These are opportunities where the university is wanting to employ somebody who has got potential. Can we develop this person? Can we train this person? So nobody should be put off thinking, well, I don't know anything about this area and maybe I shouldn't apply. Or I haven't got lots of qualifications in this area. There are very minimal qualification requirements, so don't be put off by that. There's a process, there's an application form, there are dates, and my job really today is just to tell you a bit about these opportunities, to introduce you to this, but what we don't do is we don't fill out the application forms for you. You know, we take you so far and we will support you, and there are other organisations that support you. So for example, you know, we've got people from the City Council who are helping us with this, and what they are doing is they're saying, look, we will help you, we will support you. If you're interested in this, then you contact us, make an appointment, we will help you if you're struggling with the application form. We can't fill it in for you, but we will help you, we'll give you some guidance on as to what you should put in there. So there's a lot of support, so don't think that you're on your own. Because a lot of people get put off. When you look at this process, you see this application form, you think, what do I do with this? It's actually very straightforward. You just have to do it in stages, and there are people who are willing to support you. And don't worry about qualifications. I think with some of the laboratory technicians, you might have to have some GCSE in maths or some basic qualifications, but it's nothing much more than that. And on the other ones, I don't think there are any real qualification requirements. You don't need to have a degree, you don't need, you know, and a lot of people I know, they, you know, they come from other countries and they have qualifications from there, and they're thinking, well, they won't be any good here. But it's part of your experience. We spoke to somebody the other day, this kind of gathering, but very much smaller. And there was a guy there who said, yeah, you know, I want to try and get back into employment, and, you know, I don't really know where to start. And then he started to talk to us, and he knew 5 languages, he'd done this course and that course, and he, you know, really occupied his time very constructively. And we were sitting back thinking, you've got more experience than us. But he was shy, he didn't have the confidence. And so this is part of the process. Part of the thing is that people think, I shouldn't apply for this, I haven't got the relevant qualifications. But what we're saying is that no, look at this application, look at the areas, see which one you are interested in, and apply. And if you don't get it, this experience will be valuable for next time. You know, this isn't going to be the only job you ever apply for. And nobody gets what they want first time. But this is all part of experience. It adds to your knowledge, it adds to your confidence. Next time you're going to make an application, you'll think, well, I did the John Moores one, good, and this one I will improve a little bit. I know how to fill out these applications now. So this is, again, and we're happy. If, for example, somebody gets a job offer as a result of this from Liverpool John Moores University, and they refuse it, and they say, actually, no, I want to go and work for University of Liverpool. That's fine. That's success for us. Because this is somebody who previously wasn't in work, and as a result of our efforts, he's now got a job. She's now got a job. Okay, not with us, but it's still success, still good for her, still good for her family. And so, you know, we don't think that this is something we own and we want everybody to just apply to our university and just stick with us. This is a service that we are primarily doing for ourselves, but if the benefits go somewhere else, that's fine. You know, we can live with that. So I'll just, I don't want to talk too much, and I've probably already talked too much, because I want to give you the opportunity to ask questions and discuss this process. But I'll just give you some dates so you have in your mind what we're looking at. And so the closing date for applications is the 31st of May. So that's what, 10 days?
Next month.
Yeah, end of next week. So there's not that much time, but there is enough time if people are interested. The week of the 7th of June is when the university will start shortlisting, and so they'll be looking at the applications and deciding which ones are going to go further. There are going to be some assessments in the week of the 28th of June, so the end of June we'll start to do some assessments, and then interviews in the middle of July. So the week of the 19th of July at the moment is the week when we think we will interview potential candidates. And the idea is that then the job will start in September. So it's all quite quick during the summer really. So starting from next week, the application, we hope to have this resolved over the summer so that people start in September. Of course, September is the start of the academic year when the universities, the students come back and they start. And the other thing that you might be interested in is money. So there's an allowance, a payment of just over £17,000, so like a salary, if you like, for this training period, which is 2 years. And the idea is that no organisation is going to take somebody on and pay them and train them with the intention that we're not going to keep them. So people might be worried that, oh well, I get this job, but then what's happening in 2 years' time? No, it's the other way around. The starting point is that if you do the training, if you show the potential, then in 2 years' time, we hope to give you a full-time job. We're not doing this just to train people. We want to train our future staff. And 17,000, for that is not a bad allowance for the training. And it involves 35 hours a week, so it's 5 days a week. And there might occasionally be opportunities to, and occasions when you have to work outside of the normal working hours. But this is really, hopefully, the first step for many people on their career ladder. And, Professor Dia will tell you, and I can tell you, John Moores is a really good place to work. And it's got a lot of support there. Some organisations, they're just about, we want to make money and we don't care about you. And if we think that you're not going to make us money, we will get rid of you tomorrow. Universities don't operate like that, and John Moores University doesn't operate like that. If you come and work for us, all being well, we intend to keep you, and if you've got any issues and difficulties, we've got a whole network of support there that you can call upon. Huge human resources department, lots of opportunities to get support and get development, further development. So even once you've got the job, even for people like us, there are lots of courses that we can attend to improve our CV, to improve our opportunities, to improve our knowledge and learning. And this is really, I think it's an amazing thing. We've got a whole, it's called the Leadership and Development Foundation, and they've got so many courses and developmental opportunities. So, this is something that we won't say, fill out the application form and then don't bother us again. There's a lot of support in the future. Okay, I think it's probably best that I stop now. And what I should say is that, for those people who are interested, the best thing is to click on the link and the website, and all the opportunities come up there. And then for each opportunity, if you click on it, there's a link. It's a link that takes you directly to the job description. so people can see what's required here, what is the person's specification, what are they looking for. And again, I need to stop talking, but I can't help it. There's so much information. A lot of people, I heard this example recently, and somebody was saying that, I think it was a female academic, and she was saying that what happens is that me as a woman, I will look at a job description and there's 10 requirements, and I think I can only do 8 of those. I can't do those other 2, so I won't apply. And some people, they look at the job description with 10 requirements and they think, I can only do 2, but I'm going to apply. And it's a difference in thinking, and sometimes this affects our communities. It affects people like me who've had, successful careers, and we still think, oh no, I can't do this, I can't do this. And we look at the things that we can't do, the 1 or 2 things we can't do, and we don't look at the 8 things that we can do. And we need to start to change that mentality. Don't worry about the things we can't do, because we can be trained, we can learn those. Look at the things that we can do, because there are some people, and some people in very high positions in government who don't know much, who haven't got much talent and ability, but they don't care, they've got confidence. I'm only going to concentrate on the 1 thing that I can do. Don't worry about the 99 that I can't do. And it's about confidence. And so, when you look at these specifications and job descriptions, don't be put off. It's a lot of language, because they have to do that. This is from the HR department, they have to put in everything there, you have to do this, that and the other. And people like me will think, that's too much. And so, for other people it's very off-putting, but don't be put off. Just think, okay, what is it that they're looking for? What is it that I bring to the table? What qualities have I got? What abilities have I got? Because what you want is the opportunity to be interviewed and then persuade them that, look, okay, I can't do all of this, but this is what I can do. And if you impress somebody at interview, they might think, okay, there's work to be done here, but there's potential that we can work with. Okay, and I'm now definitely going to stop. So, feel free, please, to ask me any questions. I can't guarantee I've got the answers, but I will try and help you.
Yeah, thank you for this, and thanks for the people who organised this event. So I just would like to give us a brief idea about all the sectors, like IT, because IT is like a wide field. So, and other sectors. So if you could give us like a brief idea, please, about each sector.
Yeah, sure. The thing is that I don't know exactly what is going to be required in each sector. But, for example, once you go into IT, this is not going to be a specific job that they're looking for, because they've got at the moment, they've got the jobs filled. These are new opportunities that they are creating. So what they will do is create an opportunity in IT and then see how this person develops and see where that person can be used. So at the moment, they're not looking for a particular job that they need filling, and that's why they're putting this out to the community. These are opportunities that are saying that, look, if you've got an interest in IT, then maybe have a look at this. Come and get involved. And then as you get trained and developed, and after 2 years, then you're in a position to look for a permanent position, then we will see, okay, what area in IT are you best suited to? So at the moment, I don't think you should worry too much about what exactly is the end job. At the moment, it's the areas that we should be looking more about.
Can I follow up with IT, because it's my special area?
Sure.
So at Liverpool John Moores University, before each faculty, we have 5 faculties. Each faculty has their own IT support. So what they did 5 years ago, they took all the resources from all the faculties and they put it in one place. And it is the IT support for the whole university. And when we say IT support, any staff or student has a computer, for example, Zia's computer, It has to be settled by them. All the software has to be.
The end job, just have an interest in IT, have some basic understanding. And nowadays, to be fair, everybody has a basic understanding. We're all on the internet. We all know how to operate these devices. The rest of it, they will train.
Ziad Jroushi, psychologist and mental health counselor. Thank you for this opportunity. Very nice. We appreciate it a lot. And thank you for the organizer, Dr. Dia, Dr. Saib, and Abdul Wasa. One of our question in this community is about the language. The first challenges that we have is the English language. And we hear English language is like second language for us. This course program is very nice, and I know a lot of people in our community, they have the ability and skills to do these courses, but the main issue that they have, I can't speak English, I can't write English, so what I can do? If there's any courses to prepare people to apply for these jobs and they prepare him in English language or not?
Yeah, I think at the moment there isn't any course that we are undertaking to prepare people. We're giving support and we can point people in the right direction. But the other thing to remember is that not all of these positions are going to require the same level of English language. Because say for example, one of the positions is customer services advisor. Well, if you're a customer services advisor, you have to communicate with people. And so there, if your English is weak, it's probably not the best field for you to go in. But if maybe in IT, a lot of people, we've all seen this, a lot of people on the computer, their English is great.
Yeah.
When they speak, they don't have the confidence. That's fine. In IT, a lot of IT people have no confidence and they're not very good at speaking. That's just the way they like their computers. But on the computer, they're very good. So different fields will require different levels of English. The important thing is that whoever applies has to be eligible to work in the UK.
Yeah.
So that is a basic requirement. The language requirement is going to vary. And so don't automatically think that because my language isn't perfect, they won't be interested. No, that's not the position. If you're applying for a field where language is key, then they might say to you that, look, you've got lots of qualities and abilities, but you might need to improve your language. And that's fine if they give you that feedback. But again, my starting point is, don't be put off. Get involved and then see if there's any obstacles.
Thank you.
Yes, Paul.
So you said on the course it says 35 hours a week training. You said you might be required to work outside of the training hours, so can you elaborate a bit more on that one, please?
Yeah, I don't really have much detail about that, but what they're saying is that what we don't want people to think is that it's 35 hours full stop and that's all I have to do. Because it might be that the person who's your manager or supervisor, he requires you to do a little bit more out of hours. But it won't be much, it won't be demanding. But say for example, let's say you're a laboratory technician. Well, it might be that somebody needs the lab outside normal working hours, so they need some support and you might have to get involved there. But the basic requirement is it's a normal job. It's it's going to be 9 to 5 days a week. So that's what we want people to think. Don't worry too much about the out of hours, because that's going to be exceptional. It's just that we don't want you to think there's going to be nothing out of hours and then suddenly your manager says he wants you to do something a bit more. Okay?
Yes. How much would age matter in terms of the application process? Because I'm sure it's like to start the application, to start applying for this, you're going to have to be between 16 and how old, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good question. The minimum age is 16. There's no maximum age. Again, I emphasise that it's a good employer. They don't really tend to discriminate age-wise. This is an opportunity, and they know as well that, look, if you're looking to increase the representation of your workforce from different communities, then you shouldn't increase it on the one hand and then restrict it on the other hand with age. So there is no restriction Again, anybody who's interested, should apply. There's also, I should have mentioned that, there are 5 weeks a year holiday, so that would be 5 weeks paid holiday, as well as the 8 bank holidays, and we have a Christmas shutdown, which is great. It's extra holiday between Christmas and New Year. They close the university down, and that obviously is holiday, but it doesn't count as your entitlement. So that's on top of that. So the holidays, are generous. Don't think there's a university, so in May and June I switch off and I don't have to come back until September. That's not how universities operate. And even now people say to me, oh, you'll be doing nothing in the summer. The university is open. People still working, but obviously the students aren't there in the summer. That's the difference.
Thank you, sir, for your presentation. I have few questions. First one, you told me no qualification required for the application. How the panel to be shortlisted a candidate? No qualification, no language level required. How they deal with this, the big number of the applicants to be shortlisted? How they work in this?
Well, part of the application, so there's an application form to fill in, and then part of the form is a personal statement.
Yes.
And so in that personal statement, you will be saying, you'll be giving the reasons why you are good for this job. So they will look, so say for example it's IT, and somebody says, look, I have no IT degree, I have no formal qualifications, but I've been involved in this, this and this in IT, and I'm involved in this organisation, and I've been looking at IT there. That's a lot of experience in the personal statement. If somebody in their personal statement says, I don't know anything about IT, but I like playing video games, well, that's not the same, is it? And so the people who look at the application forms will look at the personal statement. So the personal statement part of the application is very important, because that's you explaining why you are good for that job. And then once they read all those, they'll be able to tell, okay, this person hasn't got any formal qualifications, but they've got a lot of interesting experience, they've got a lot of enthusiasm, they've got a lot of willingness to learn, and then they have to make an assessment and shortlist from that.
Sorry, I was asking some question on behalf of some people. Secondly, the trainees, after they finish the full 2 years, they qualify to NVQ4 or be less or lower or higher as a degree?
That's a good question actually. I don't know what the exact qualification, let me see if there's any information here.
I don't think so.
I don't think that.
But they, as you said, they will have an opportunity, because they are part of the university, to do some courses which has qualification behind it free of charge.
I think that's the key thing, that once you get your foot in the door,
Yes.
then in those 2 years, not only will you be trained in this, but you'll have your eyes opened to all the other development opportunities I mentioned before, the foundation. There's lots of opportunities there, so the person has 2 years then to think, okay, I'm getting trained in IT, but I want a job 2 years later. What other things should I be doing? And you'll have a manager or supervisor who can advise you that, listen, if you want to get this kind of job, you should maybe look at this course while you're here. And so, again, you've got your foot in the door, and then there are lots of other opportunities open up.
Last question about the post. How many posts in each field? Is available in some fields, but IT, for example, is not mentioned how many posts available for.
Right, okay. I should have this information because I've seen it before, but I think it's about 20, is it?
20, yeah.
Around about 20 in total.
We can find out, and I'll pass the information back
Yeah,
to you.
yeah.
Okay? I'll give you the information.
Okay.
I'll get you exactly how many for. I think we can find out how many for IT, how many for the rest of it. So,
it was great for our community.
I mean, one of the things which is, as Yas said, we can, this is not apart from the universities, but here as a community, we will have people as advice for the personal statement, for their application, how to put the application. We will sit here and we will try to do some training for them. But some people, they are really good on what they are doing, but they don't know how to explain it. Professionally. So we will do some activity. But this is outside LJMU. So.
Last question, Mr. Zed. I'm sorry for asking, because a lot of people come to me to ask the question about the reference. Some people still students in the college, and some is not in the college. The references. The best one is maybe the teacher. Is lecturer in the college, or the teacher, or is a professional course for him, or what is the best reference for this?
Again, I don't think there's any specific rules on that, but what I would do is say that, yeah, you know, if you've got a lecturer in your college who knows you, that's a good one, as a kind of from professional side, as well as get a separate personal one. So I would, if they can get the professional ones, that would be good, yeah, definitely. But again, there's no strict requirements, and a lot of this, you know, I keep on emphasising, there's no strict requirement that you have to have it this way, otherwise we won't consider you. It's not like that.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Sorry, I think brother was going to ask another question.
Yeah. My question is why the university has chosen those fields exactly? I mean, why not like dental nurse, admin? I mean, is it based on research or the community, or?
The short answer is I don't know what made them pick these areas. It might be that in these areas there's likely to be more opportunities in the future. It might be that in these areas it's easier to train people than other areas. I'm not sure what the thinking was. This is a initiative from, you know, human resources HR team. They decided this, and so I wasn't part of the decision making to get these particular opportunities. But like I said at the beginning, this is the first time that the university is doing something like this. And it might be that, you know, if this is successful, then next time they say, actually, we should expand this to other areas. There's nothing to suggest that these are the only fields we are ever going to look at. This is this time around. Next time it might be somewhere.
And I think because these jobs, there are three things. This job doesn't require a lot of qualification, and it will give opportunity to the university to give back to the community because they will train them. And at the same time, there is all the time the turnover of the staff on these jobs is very high. So we need to train more people, and it's not just for LJMU, for other universities. So that will give the opportunity to train people, not just for our university, for the rest of the university. So the university giving back to the community, and especially our communities around local area. And then it will give opportunity for them to find jobs, not just train them, but there's opportunity for the turnover of these jobs is so high. So you will find, when we train you, we know we're going to find a job. If you go for admin, you need some qualification to become that admin because basically you need some other qualification. Nursing, and there are all that need qualification. For state, for IT to start with a lot of people, so this is why I think they have decided. Somebody was explaining that, but of course there's more onto it. But mainly, for our university, we want to put back to the community. We want to put back to the community. We want to give the community opportunity. Liverpool, we are hoping that Liverpool University will do the same. Hope University will do the same. So if they do, between 4 of our universities, they will train 80 people. And 80 people is a good number.
The important thing, you know, I keep on emphasising, this is like a first step for many people. That, you know, they're going to get some training. And then once we give you the training, yes, it would be good if you carried on working for John Moores, but we're not demanding that. We're not making that a requirement. It might be that you get the training from us, and then you feel confident, you've got a good, something on your CV, and you go apply for a job somewhere else. But what we've done then is we've contributed to people in this community getting employment and hopefully progressing in the future. And that's what, you know, the university, so this isn't just a selfish thing for the university that we want our workforce. This is something that, as Professor Diaz said, it's very much a community initiative. We want to be able to show, when somebody says a year down the line, 5 years down the line, what did your university do? You're talking about equality, etc., etc. What did you do? We want to say, look, we had this initiative. As a result of this initiative, we trained this many people. They've got involved in these jobs. It was a successful initiative. So next year we did it again. And so this is, you know, this is a community service that hopefully will also benefit us.
The problem with the community, when they look at the university, they think the university is somewhere else, you know, somewhere here, high, you know, we cannot reach. No. We want to make sure that everybody, the university is for the community. If we don't serve the community, it's a problem. And we've got Brother Zia, myself, we are part of the community. We are here. But we are actually, Brother Zia is high up in the you know, one of the director of the university. He is here. So the university is not there. The university is here. We want everybody to feel that I can reach the university, I can be part of it, and I can even study and work in it. And we try to give opportunities to people who have not had opportunity before through like a proper formal education. And that's a big opportunity for some of them. So I think, as I said, especially Bakul John University, if Brother Zia keep pushing them, then I'm hoping that within the next 10 years, you will see all signs around here, you know, coming from the university. We'll see that the university start paying something, you know, like giving training in here, you know, taking, be part of what you're trying to do, which is a STEM course, science, technology, and math and education, formal like training for the young people who feel that this is very hard for them STEM subject. No, the university will reach out because we reach out for us, for our youngsters to go there. So again, very important is we are part of the university as a community, and the community part of us, and we've got Brother Zia is the link actually between us and the university, between us as a community and the university.
We do, every university, and we do as well, we have outreach programs. Yesterday I was online talking to a school about a career in the law. This school was in Birmingham. So we have outreach to, especially now with online, we have outreach to schools in different parts of the country. We have outreach to schools in different parts of the city. So I regularly go to maybe Calderstone School or different schools around the city and speak to them. But one of the things I say to the university is that we should look at those people who can walk to the university. Look at those communities, and you can, you know, all of you can walk to Liverpool John Moores University, never mind applying to a university in another part of the country. And that's very important for our young people, because increasingly there is financial pressure to go to university. And a lot of people are thinking, well, I can't go to university in London because I can't afford to live in London, and I can't afford to borrow the money and get a big student loan, and there's no guarantee of employment. But if you've got a university you can walk to and you can still stay at home, then if we don't present ourselves as attractive to those communities, then we are, you know, we're failing. And so that's why it's very important for me, for our local communities to realize that the university is part of that community. Like Professor Diaz said, that, you know, there's no point thinking that the university's up here and I can never go into a university building. University is something special. And so one of my conversations with the university is that, look, we need to open our buildings more. Maybe create some community spaces there so that people feel comfortable coming in for whatever activity. And if they feel comfortable, then they'll say to their children, listen, you know, never mind that university, why don't you apply to John Moores? So it works for, you know, works for everybody, works for the community, works for the university. Yes, sister.
Would it put someone in a bad light if they apply to different positions within the program?
No. We had this conversation the other day that it might be that you look at you think I'm interested in IT, but I'm also interested in the library services. Apply for both. it might be that when you look at the person specification that you have to slightly change your personal statement to show why you would be, useful in a particular position. But that's a fairly basic thing. But there's no rule saying you can only apply for one. If you want to, you can apply for all 10. But it makes more sense to maybe look at the few areas that you're interested in and then think about, what do I bring to that area? What do I bring to IT? What do I bring to estate management or whatever it is? But yeah, that's fine.
And that would reflect also on our personal statements for each application, right?
Yeah, because you'd have to do a separate application and so a separate personal statement. So if you silly example, but if you just cut and paste the personal statement and it says, I would be good in IT services, and then you put it in the library one, that's not going to be very clever. So you have to think about it a little bit, but nothing major.
You mentioned that the traineeship is mainly for the community and building up the community and allowing people to understand that the university does provide options. I do want to elaborate on a very specific thing. A lot of jobs, they tell you, well, I'm going to train you for this period of time, and if you choose to not continue with me, you're going to have to pay me this percentage of how much I spent on training. And as this is a 2-year traineeship followed by an opportunity, if someone were to find a different opportunity during those 2 years or after those 2 years in a different area, is there a clause in a specific contract that would affect them in any way and cause them financial distress?
No, I'm pretty sure that there's no rule to say that you've got to pay the training fee. You could get 2 years training and then say, I don't want a job. I'm happy. No one's going to say, give us back 36 grand or whatever it is. It's fine. This is like it's a training allowance, but it's also effectively it's a payment. And while you're doing this training, you'll be doing the job. So it's not just, you're not just going to do a course and getting paid for it. You will be working as well. So it's on the job and off the job training. So yeah, but no one's going to be taking the money back.
The question comes to me. A lot of months, as we see, it is available as part-time job or part-time training program, or you have to full-time?
I think this is full-time. I think it's the 35 hours a week, so it's full-time.
This is option as well.
Yes, I don't think there's a part-time option on this, no. Maybe that's something in the future they might consider, but at the moment this is 35 hours a week. Sorry.
Sorry, would you have...
I'll come back to you, don't worry, brother.
Would you have to continue the training for the full 2 years, or can you, say, while you were getting trained for a year or something, and you actually had a job opportunity somewhere, would you be able to just...
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure you're not committed to 2 years. If for whatever reason you have to stop after a year, there will be provision for that. Obviously, you're not going to get paid for the second year, but I'm sure, again, I don't know the details, the technical details of it, but I'd be surprised if this was a contract that you had to stick to for 2 years. But these are all things that we can look into and get the answers for you. So what we'll do is, we'll make sure that we've got contact, because you'll have a central contact here who can tell you about the link for the application, and then you can do that yourself. But also, what we'll be in a position to do is to liaise with that central contact. So any of these questions, we'll get them answered, provide the information back here, and then you can check up and just to make sure. Okay.
Can you give more information about estate management?
Estate management, say more about it. If I knew more about it, I would say more about it, but all I know, as I mentioned earlier, is that there's a lot of estate. And estate management can be anything from, we have people who are basically like caretakers in a school. That's part of estate management. Okay. Now clearly they don't need any fancy qualifications, but then there are those people who are managers in estate management who are making very, more high-level decisions. Well, what do we do with these buildings, and how many hours do we keep this building open, and the cost of all this. They have to think about those. So clearly for that level, that requires more qualifications. But this isn't about that level. This is about starting off. So this will be training about how the estate generally works. and then once that person's got a role, then they might want to progress to a higher one later. But it really covers, estate management covers everything from the caretakers, we call them general assistants, everything from those guys to the people at the top making the big decisions.
And you know, the caretakers, but one building, they teach them how to use the drill, they teach them how to fix like a door when they teach them. So they don't need to bring the maintenance people all the time. So they teach them the basic skills to look after some of the rooms. Plus you have to clear, for example, if there's something you've got to clear, I mean, the bins, you've got to clear the bins, some of them. Some of them they have to clear the bins, which is not, there's no shame about that. But at the same time, the same person will be, they train them to, if there is a door which is need some tidying up, they have to do it. If there is some painting, they have to do it. The recycling, there is a machine at the university, we have a big machine where they bring all the boxes and they put them together, and then they teach them how to use all these tools. For example, we've got some if there's some leaves on the top part of the back. What they do, they blow them and they collect them. Then the loan, they do it. So it's a different skill. They teach them different skills. But all these skills, basically, for you as a trainer, it will help you either stay with the job. If you stay with the job, it will progress you. I know some people. I've been at the university working 27 years. Some people, they started very small and then now they are in the management. Actually, I mean, you'd be surprised. They started when they are 18 and management. And we have, at our university, we have people who started 18 and retired at the university. They retired. I know somebody who started when he was 18. She was 18 actually, and then she retired just last year. So there's opportunity. Is a community university. It is a majority of the people working in the state, especially, they are from Liverpool because they cannot afford to come from somewhere else. They are from Liverpool. They were born in Liverpool, or they moved to Liverpool when they were in the early age of their life, and they stayed there. So we need to think about this is an opportunity just to start being put, as Professor Ziad said, putting your foot on the step, and then further yourself with your career.
Yeah, I mean, I know of somebody in the university who was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, started as an art technician in the art department, and that person is now very, very high up in the university, been there a long time. There are lots of opportunities, and some people, some people are happy at one level. Okay, my bills are being paid, I'm happy. Other people, they're constantly looking for opportunities, and in the university there are so many opportunities. So you might start off in one department over here and end up in another department over here. But it's amazing the number of opportunities that there are there. And I kind of, if I was more ambitious, I'd probably be looking at some of these big opportunities myself, but I'm too old now. Yes, but
if you start training for 1 year and you want to change to another training, so is it possible to change in second year?
To a different type of?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good question actually. I don't know the answer to that. We can have a look at it, but I don't think there'll be any problem with it. Obviously, I don't think there'll be any difficulty with that, because the question is, if you start training, for example, in IT services, after a year, can you change to another side?
No,
is there a commitment to?
Yeah, it's coming because otherwise, because it's like it's not, you can't.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Continue this training.
Yeah, I think you might have to complete the whole training.
I mean, one of the things you've got to think about as a community, this is a big opportunity, and we want people to be committed. That's it. If they want to they start. We don't want them to start 9 months and they will leave the job. This is very important for us, for the rest of, because if this 20 opportunity going to become successful after 2 years, we can use it as to push. Look at this person have started. Look what he's doing. So we can train more and more for the community. So please, first of all, if I was you guys, I focus on one job. The job you wanted to see yourself in 20 years' time is that job. Don't go there just, let me try, please. Because if you just try, and after like 3 years, and from these 20 people, we got only one left on the job, we cannot argue with the university. Look, this is an opportunity. You need to think about not just yourself, as the whole, whole community. Think about your friends and your family. Because every move you do with these things, it will be different. As Brother Zia said, I know somebody, he knows somebody, started as a technician, art technician, and he's not shy to say it. And he became our boss, number one. I mean, one day, when he was technician, I was really high after him. Then he was telling me what to do. He's a really nice guy, by the way. Very, very nice guy. I mean, imagine the opportunity.
So people have to understand the long-term implications. If this is successful this year, next year you have a very good argument to make it bigger. Instead of 20 places, 40 places. Because you can point to the evidence that, look, it was successful last year. We have got 20 successful applicants who are doing really well in the university. How can we not increase that this year? And, it's not like we're just giving them handouts. They're doing a job for us. They are providing a service. And so but there's an evidence base for that. That's what we need to plan. We need to start thinking more long term. This, for example, like today, this was all organised for me, very last minute, but I said, okay, yeah, that's fine, I can go along Saturday morning. But I was thinking, because I went to one of these events a few days ago somewhere else, and there were a couple of ladies from the council who came, and they are helping with the applications, and we just sat there for 2 hours, had a very nice chat, because only one person came to see us. And it was disappointing. He was a very good candidate, but it was, just one person. Now the problem then is that when the university thinks about having these events in the community, they will say, no, it's not worth it. We can't ask Zia, okay, this is a Saturday, but usually this would be, let's say, a working day. They will say, we can't ask him to take 2 hours out of his working day to go and sit in a community centre and drink tea for 2 hours, because nobody's going to turn up. It's not worth it. So they will not agree to these events. But this is a successful event. I can go back and say, look, the place was full. There were lots of people there. And so next time when, Altaiseer Mosque suggests something with the university will think, yeah, it's a good idea, because they will be there. And so it might be, okay, today we're talking about these job opportunities. Next time it might be a different opportunity. Professor Dia might have from his area an opportunity, or from another part of the university, they want to bring something to the attention of the community. And instead of going to X organisation, they think, actually, we're better coming here, because this will be well attended. So we should always be thinking about how do we make this better in the future.
I think everyone needs a break, don't they? So refreshments at the back, the toilets are on your left. Feel free to help yourself. And thank you very much. We'll be back around 11:45.
And if it's okay, I think this event is till 12 o'clock, isn't it?
Yeah, till 12.
Yeah, so just in case, anybody's thinking, we'll finish at 12. So if you want to have a break now and think about any questions that you haven't asked so far, we'll be here for a few more minutes until 12 o'clock.
جزاك الله خير. بارك الله.